Not yet. Well, it's yeah. So now basically, I think I'll just do it. And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Internship Provider's webinar for this month, or maybe it's morning, depending on where you're watching from. In any case, welcome, and we're very glad that you can join us in this explanation today. First of all, we will start with a brief explanation of what exactly Internship Provider is and does. And afterwards, we will continue with a FAQ section in which we will discuss the frequently asked questions that we get so that everyone can immediately be familiarized better with the type of the service we provide. And afterwards, if there are any questions, we will be more than happy to answer them live. And of course, if someone has questions afterwards, they're always welcome to contact us at info@internshipprovider.com or on Skype. But of course, we will show you these details in a minute, or rather at the end. So let us begin. First of all, what is Internship Provider? Well, we are a service which organizes internship for students abroad in several locations, including the UK, Ireland, the USA, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Malta, and China. Besides doing this, we also stress the fact that we do it according to people's personal and educational requirements, meaning that we can take students who are both undergraduates and graduates and fit the internship search according to their personal requirements. However, the way this works is that first we would like you to apply for free on our website, where you could actually submit all of your relevant details and documents which are needed for us to consider. Afterwards, we look at your profile, we see any things that might not be clear, and we inform you of them. The next step would be to conduct a Skype meeting during which we get to a more personal level with you. We communicate all of the details which we have received and ask for your confirmation and clear up any kinds of miscommunications or issues or maybe something that needs to be updated in the meanwhile. After we've received all this relevant information and then we have begun the actual process is when we can send the documents to our colleagues on location and they begin the search. Speaking of colleagues on location, this is something we take pride in because we work with offices in each location in the countries with which we arrange internships in. And what is good about this is that basically because they're on location, they always have access to the newest developments in either a business setting or just company developments in general. And they're always the first to find out about the new internship possibilities that are made available. Doing this in 8 countries has actually allowed us to develop a very wide network of companies. And this is why we are able to do what we do so well. But what do we do? Well, we provide internships, of course, this is the main idea. But apart from that, we also provide additional services, which you can see here. Besides the internship placement, these include help with finding accommodation, perhaps finding cheaper flight tickets, arranging pre-internship language courses in case you need to improve your English level before the internship or you're worried that it might not be that high of a certain standard. Also arranging insurances for your stay abroad because it's very important to be covered in all possible ways for your entire internship duration. And of course, if you have any kinds of issues, we always, through our offices on location, we're happy to help you with solving them or giving you tips or assistance. Or if you want some fun recommendations, these people there will always be happy to help you. But of course, we will cover these topics more in depth during the FAQ section. Now, let's first discuss the destinations themselves. As mentioned, there are 8 of them, and we will go more in depth into each one of them here. The first one is Australia, and by the way, notice please that on the bottom it gives a very detailed duration for each country. So most of them, as you can see here, as well as on the next page, which we will show you later, consist of 3 to 6 months. And this is the average duration for these countries. And the options, as mentioned, are internships for undergraduates, but also for graduating interns and master's degree students, as well as the aforementioned language courses. So these are all possibilities that you can take in each individual country. And of course, based on this presentation, you will be able to see what rules apply to each destination, respectively. So first of all, let's start with Australia. Australia is a very beautiful location, as you can see here, and as you probably know. Uh, the nature of the working environment is actually quite unique because it's very relaxed while also being productive, which is good. But working with professionals there will always guarantee you a good time to be had. And see how Australia is a rather interesting location, which not many people get to visit that often in their lives. It is the perfect combination of working environment plus relaxation and culture and actual the beautiful nature available there, which makes it a good half internship, half traveling experience, as you could say. In the This is actually very good because there are plenty of opportunities during the weekends as well as on the short holiday breaks to explore the beautiful nature and breathtaking landscapes. And yeah, as as far as cultural enrichment gets, Australia is one of the best options, while also providing many different internship opportunities in terms of its fields. So the labor market is developed there very much, you can say. It is also a great place for mechanical engineering related internships, for example. Although, as mentioned, there were countless many others opportunities. And yeah, we would, if you're looking for something special, we definitely recommend Australia. The next destination is New Zealand. And speaking of labor market opportunities, New Zealand, we can argue that is even more developed than Australia in terms of the different internship options which it offers. Actually, there are many organizations which are involved with research and nature conservation, making it very unique. And if you want to work with animals or some kind of social work relating to nature or anything like that, or of that nature, of that matter, you will not find a better place than New Zealand. It also, as mentioned, the labor opportunities are very well developed, which means that if you have a more, let's say, tricky internship position or field of study that you would like to explore and you find that it's not really available in many of the other or your home country, then perhaps it would be available in New Zealand, as we have had several cases where even the most uncommon areas of expertise have actually been met in Australia, and the students have been very pleased with their stay there. One such example, for example, is a criminology study, which is not really common in many countries, but in that case was actually doable in terms of arranging it. And the student actually had a very interesting experience, which he otherwise wouldn't have had. So that's quite good. The next country that we will cover in this case is Canada. And Canada is a very good option for choosing different internship fields because the economy is stable. So many companies are actually turning their attention to Canada and investing in it, which means that more and more opportunities are being made available. These would include things such as international law, business, or different types of engineering. So, if you want to get a more North American experience, while not specifically being the States, although we will cover that in a moment, we believe that Canada is a very good combination of modern as well as presenting you with a very unique cultural and even natural perspective. The nature is very beautiful to explore there, and there are many different types of accommodations available. And specifically, Vancouver in particular has so very much to offer in terms of modern culture, but also in terms of variety of internships. So if you would like to go there, that will be the best place to do so through us. The next destination which we will discuss is China. Obviously, China is very old and brings a lot centuries-old traditions, and it basically has thousands of years worth of interesting history. But so this will definitely cover your thirst for something more interesting and unique. But apart from that, China is actually has the world's fastest growing economy, and this means that it provides more and more internships in various fields. In fact, recently there was an interesting article which mentioned that there's a very big wave of students this year who would want to go to China, and we have personally experienced this, sending a lot more this year than last year. So the economy is constantly developing. There are different options available in different fields, and especially in terms of business, IT, and management, this would be one of the best places to do so. And it also looks good on your CV because not many people can state that they have had the luxury of gaining relevant work experience in China and actually succeeding at it. So that would definitely be one recommended place for people who want something different. Here you can see the other destinations. As mentioned, all of the information is available under each picture in terms of the duration and options. But it's very interesting to note that for Malta specifically, as you can see here, there are much more flexibility in terms of the duration. As you can see, it says that it has 6 weeks of minimum internship duration, which means that the possibilities to have a summer internship are probably the best in Malta. This is because not only because of the time duration flexibility as mentioned, but also because there are actually a lot of companies there which provide internships in all kinds of various fields, and because it's a small country and because a lot of international students are coming day in and day out of this country, companies are aware of the fact that your stay would be shorter, so they adjust it accordingly, while also giving you the experience and the opportunity to actually take part in the activities which are very important to the company. So not just administrative work or something like that, but really involve you in the tasks. And a different thing from Malta is because, as mentioned, there are a lot of different international students for the summer. It's not only very good for the purposes of creating your own networks with different people who you never know who might be successful later on, who not, in different study fields, but also it provides a very very relaxing student atmosphere, and it's the best destination in terms of partying and just having a good time. So it's very similar to Australia in that regard, how you can combine the trip aspect of the internship as well as the actual relevant work experience. The next location which we will move on to is Ireland. Here you can see the duration here is again 3 to 6 months, and the economy in Ireland has actually had a very big boost, has had a very big boost in the recent years, and this is the reason why many multinational companies have based their European offices in Dublin, and in the process they have created many available internship positions. So as it's expected to keep growing and to present more opportunities, it could be ideal for many people who are still trying to get a more European experience while also not being the typical ones of their own country or surrounding countries, because Ireland has a very very interesting culture and history behind it. And in terms of social work or commercial management, Ireland is actually a very good destination, but that's just an example, as it offers many different variations as well. The next destination which we will describe is England. England, of course, is one of the beating hearts of the European economy, and London, especially, is considered the financial center of Europe. So it's not surprising that you cannot name a multinational successful company which does not have an office in England. So that's actually pretty very, very. Very relaxed and also very business oriented location at the same time. And as mentioned, there are many different opportunities in terms of finance, which is always good, and marketing, everything with business administration or just being involved in major business activities. Because, as mentioned, these many companies which you would know, worldwide known companies, actually are based there or they have offices there, and they accept interns, which means that in the end, you would have a very, very good detail to note on your CV as an experience, because as soon as someone sees that you have done an internship in a recognized company, that immediately increases your opportunities for work, for developing yourself professionally later on. So, and if you would like a business related internship, for us we would not recommend anything better than England in this case. However, of course, if you want some other locations, we'll be more than happy to search there because they also offer many, many different possibilities. And finally, the USA, which as you can see has a little bit of a longer duration from 6 to 12 months. There is a reason why it's called the land of opportunities and the land of the free and home and the brave. The place where the world's biggest companies have roots is indeed the USA, and many of the world-known companies which are mentioned in everyday conversations come exactly from there. And we currently offer many different internship fields, positions in different fields. However, especially in the area of marketing, that's something that is rather nice. So this is in terms of the destinations themselves. I mean, there is more information on our website, of course, if you are interested, under the destinations tab, and they describe more of the things involved in the internship package, as well as perhaps more details on the countries. Now, since we have covered these aspects, we will move on to the reason why you should do an internship abroad. Basically, as mentioned here, you can see you have to take a step out of your comfort zone and develop your personal and professional skills. This is actually very true because as long as you stay within your comfort zone, you are automatically limiting yourself. If you truly want to succeed or prove to yourself that you are able to do something that you previously thought it wasn't, you really should take these risks and these decisions just to get the chance to actually experience something different, because in the end it might totally change your perspective on life or the direction in which you're heading. It is also very important to get to know a new culture and lifestyle, because people should not be isolated, of course, in terms of their own country or culture. And due to the fact that the globalization is growing more and more in recent years, and everybody is connected in all kinds of different ways through social media or just the internet in general, in terms of businesses instead, with importing, exporting, and having overseas offices, which is a good example for Ireland, for example. Then to get a perspective of the new culture and how people operate within companies in different countries is something that's very unique. We actually have a couple of cultural related articles on our website, which you are more than welcome to check out. And they will also you will really gain an appreciation both for your own, but also for other cultures and the way they are used to operating. So if you manage to actually accomplish reaching a balance between these things, then you would be automatically ready to partake in any kinds of internship or work-related experience anywhere in the world you would like. So that's why we believe that an internship abroad is a very, very good option, and actually quite essential for everyone to succeed and to stand out from the crowd. Finally, to expand your CV with an unforgettable experience, of course, this was covered already. But just to summarize, lately, or in recent years, I should say, the things that most employers are looking for after students graduate when they're hiring is basically both international experience but also meaningful experience. And because both of these things can be attained through doing internship through Internship Provider, we believe that this is actually a very good fit. And speaking of the reasons why you should choose Internship Provider, we, as mentioned, take advantage of the custom-made internships, which are arranged to your according to your individual needs and requirements. We take into account absolutely everything that you might have, because it's very important for us to have all this information beforehand, and afterwards we make sure to to actually search for a position which connects to what has been described to us. So as long as we're giving a clear profile, we do our best to find the best possible match for you. As mentioned as well, because we have these wide connections and networks set up in each of the countries that we work with, that's why basically we are able to provide internships in different fields. And so far we have sent many students to all of these locations, and all of them have been relatively happy and satisfied with their experiences. So in terms of the opportunities which can be presented for you, there are quite a lot of them, and it's not restricted per a specific study. So as long as we are able to arrange something according to your requirements, then we will be very more than happy to help you. And finally, we give helpful advice on costs, visa applications, insurances, and other internship considerations. This is important as well because while we focus on providing the internship itself, we recognize the need that not the need for students to be well prepared for their internship abroad, and we truly care about their stay abroad. That is why we mentioned the fact that our colleagues on location take great care of the students who might be experiencing any kinds of issues. But also in this way, we really want the student to be prepared and not be distracted by any kinds of problems that they might run into if they're not properly informed beforehand. So that's why we try to give you tips on everything listed here. And then we just want you to enjoy, truly enjoy your stay and hopefully get the best possible working experience. Finally, what can our partner colleagues and universities benefit from this? Well, the if you're in a university and your student does an internship through internship providers, we provide guidance on location, so as mentioned, you won't need to worry about any problems. We also have a success rate of 94%, which we are very proud of. And this is partly due to some of the students actually dropping out in the middle of the process. So it's not like all the reasons are because we could not arrange something according to their requirements. So we're very happy about our success rate, and we are very confident that we can help most students who apply. And speaking of that, here it says that there is an equal overhaul of enrollments, wherefore the school requirements can be achieved. This basically means that as long as we consider your requirements which you have submitted to us to be possible to arrange, then we do our best to do so. And while providing the service at an affordable price, which is very handy for different types of students with different types of financial backgrounds, because we recognize the need that uh, a lot of students have for doing an internship abroad, but not many being able to afford some of the very expensive packages. So that's why we offer everything at a very realistic level, and that's also while also maintaining the excellent level of service. So that's something we're very proud of. Now we come to the FAQ section, which will mostly deal with questions that we tend to get very often. And the first question in these is, for whom can we organize internships? This has already partly been covered, but of course we will mention it here as well. This is not only for undergraduates, but also for graduate students, master students, and also if you have more specific kinds of requirements of going together, like for example with your boyfriend or girlfriend, we can also try our best to arrange something that you are in a close proximity to each other. So we're very flexible in terms of the requirements which we can accept, and that is quite good. The second question is, when should I register for an internship, and how long does it take for the internship to be organized? Generally, this would really depend on the location and the type of study you have, as well as when exactly you apply. It tends to differ per country. For example, for Malta, because it's a relatively small country and there are a lot of different possibilities, and also in terms of time, that means that there are very flexible in terms of accepting interns and arranging the internship very fast. So we've had instances in Malta where within a few weeks it's already been organized. But of course, this is not the same for all countries and all study fields. So that's why we recommend that if you would like to register for an internship through us, you should do it at least 3 to 5 months beforehand. So before you would like the internship to begin, because that's actually also when the most of the companies begin to advertise and notify people that they're looking for new interns. So we would say 3 to 5 months, or perhaps even more, if you think that your area of expertise is rather uncommon. The sooner the better, because even if we start the process earlier, if we register and accept and continue with the internship search, this means that the more time we have, the more internship options we are able to explore. So even if you're undertaking something more common, such as marketing, for example, we would also recommend to start as soon as possible, just so we know that we've found the best possible match for your requirements. The next question, what does an internship provider need from me when I register? Well, most of the information can actually be found on our application form on our website. However, just to briefly mention them here, we would require a CV in English. Of course, this would be applicable for every type of international student, so we choose English because most of the companies do provide the internships in English. The next thing is a motivational letter in English. Now, we recognize the fact that, of course, we find you the company according to your requirements, so we do not expect you to know which company exactly we will be contacting. For this reason, we accept general motivational letters addressed to general hiring managers, and we simply ask that the person provides their area which they would like to explore in an internship, what they hope to gain from the internship, what they hope to contribute to it, what kind of study field, and just general stuff like that. So as long as this is provided in a motivational letter, it's absolutely fine, and we're happy to deal with it. The next thing is training requirements in English, or rather study requirements in English. So in some cases this is actually not needed because as mentioned, some students which we arrange the internships for are already graduated, so it's not like they're obliged by their educational institution to do an internship for a specific amount of time, or to have a main assignment, or maybe follow a company with a particular size or international orientation or anything like that. But this document is generally referred to people who do require these things. So if, for example, you're a second year bachelor student and your university asks you to complete a placement for, let's say, 6 months, then all the requirements which the university gives you should be submitted to us for our consideration. And in such cases, we also would like to have the approval of your internship coordinator in your school itself, so that we know that we're on the same page and that we can help you in the best way possible. We would also, while this is not always required as mandatory, we also appreciate a recent or representative photo. And finally, speaking of the school requirements, we would like a deadline by which you would like us to have found the internship. This is something that's actually very important, especially if it's related to school. But even if it's not, we still want to do so. The next question, can you guarantee me an internship when I register for Internship Provider? As mentioned, we have a very high percentage of 94, we have a very high success rate of 94%, as I wanted to say. But unfortunately, we cannot give a 100% guarantee. But this may depend on a number of factors. For example, some of them may be unforeseen circumstances because of which the student suddenly has to cancel due to personal reasons, for example. Or maybe it has to do with their visa not being approved on time, even though the internship itself has been arranged accordingly. And these are just some cases in which the internship search have been unsuccessful, but this is mostly due to personal reasons of students, or lack of initiative, or organizing their documents on time. So as long as you take care of everything and we give you some tips in relation to insurance and other things which we will cover later on in this section, you should be fine. The next question, how long can I intern for at minimum maximum? This varies per destination, of course. As mentioned before, and as you could actually see yourself, they were listed in there. In general, Malta is the shortest destination, so the shortest duration is available there, and for the other ones, approximately 3 months minimum to 6 months, as you can see, with exception to the U.S., where it can also be up to from 6 to 12 months. Within Europe, you can intern for 1 year, and for destination outside of Europe, this is different. Most of the times, depending on the type of working holiday visa or just visa which allows you to do an internship in said country, it is mostly around 6 months, so, in connection to your visa. So it's actually not allowed to do more than that. But of course, this would really depend on the destination which you would like to go, and it's a very individual instance. And the next question, can I come in contact with other students before the internship starts? This is definitely possible. We have a Facebook page which has some of the students which we have arranged internships for following, and therefore they are part of this community. And if you would like to gain some personal feedback from there, if you're not still sure if you want to proceed with Internship Provider, you can find them on the Facebook page, and we can also help you get in touch with the fellow students at the destinations if you would like to ask them, and of course if they agree to do so. The next question, can I work alongside my internship? Well, yes, you can find a job next to your internship. And we can also make a request, if you have such a request, of course, for your internship to be a part-time internship. And if this is possible, for example, to arrange for 4 of the 5 working days, then it could leave you plenty of time to get a extra job or job on the side, or during the weekends or during the evenings or something like that. It depends on what you would like, of course. What if there's a not? What if there isn't a work placement that could be found for me? This is a very general question. Very often we get this question, and of course we understand why. That's why we're presenting it here. If we cannot find you an internship for you according to your requirements and according to the deadline which we have set, which we have agreed on, pardon me, then you are simply refunded your deposit back, and the only loss in this case, the only cost is the €25 administration fee. So in terms of financial risk, there is barely any in that regard. The next question, how good should my English be? This tends to vary per destination, as some countries, of course, have English as their native language, while other ones, such as China, they do not. But in general, a minimum English level is not only recommended but also required. Some of the places, like let's say England and Ireland, they would also require you to have a business level English of a particular not level, but you can say that you would need to be able to articulate yourself in a certain way or to a certain level in a business environment. So please keep that in mind. And of course, if, as mentioned, if you're not aware or of not certain of your personal English skills, then we can always help you with organizing a pre-internship language course via us. So that is also something that you can consider if you're still having doubts about, and we can help you with that. The next question is, what does it cost to arrange an internship for Internship Provider? This depends per destination, but in general, our package starts at €695 and goes up to 895. And you can see all of these different prices on our prices section on the website itself. Do I make a deposit is the next question. Yes, of course. And the deposit is a way for us to actually get a guarantee that the student is very serious about us organizing an internship for them. Otherwise, you can imagine how some students might drop out of the process while the work and all the effort and time and contacting companies has already begun, which would be a shame for everyone and a loss of time for everyone. For this reason, we require a deposit, and as soon as we receive that and we get all the information in order in terms of your application documents and things that we've discussed during the Skype interview, then we simply send out the everything, all the documents to our colleagues on location, and the internship search begins. The deposit itself is €200, and it also includes an administration fee of 25, as mentioned. What additional costs are there in addition to the internship package? Well, you still would need to consider the cost of your ticket, visa, if necessary, of course, accommodation, insurance, and just personal for personal needs and just for everyday living. You should also consider the fact that if you get the chance to visit a very interesting location where you mind the culture and destinations and fun activities, so you should also make sure you have the budget for these kinds of activities as well, because in some cases they can truly be a one in a lifetime opportunity. The next question is, how do I find accommodation abroad? We can help you with finding the accommodation, but this is of course done after the internship has been arranged, because we would need to know in what city you're going to be positioned in, and then according to your personal requirements, we would simply try to find a good offer for you through our colleagues on location if you were interested, of course. And in many cases, you are actually grouped together in areas or even living arrangements where you are with other students. So it's also a great way for socializing and for having establishing friendships right at the beginning, which of course can be kind of scary in a new country to be by yourself. So that is actually pretty good. Where can I best buy my plane ticket? Well, you can book one yourself, or you can try to book one via us if you're interested. We try to find affordable flight tickets in general. What kind of insurances should I take out? This question is actually very important because a lot of people underestimate it. Generally, we work with a service called Covered Abroad, which can be found on our website, and we specialize with insuring you during your whole internship stay abroad. Generally, as you can find there, you would require at least health insurance as well as a liability insurance. And a lot of mistakes which some people make is that they think that they're properly insured beforehand because they've been insured in their old country. But in actuality, the country where they will be conducting the internship in might require some different types of areas which are not covered by your current one. So for that reason, we would strongly recommend that as soon as the internship is arranged, you check with both us and your current insurance provider. And if not, we can always recommend you to this one because a lot of students have done so in the past, and they have had no problems in terms of insurance. This is also something that you would have to consider in terms of the visa requirements, because sometimes the visa actually requires you to be insured in a way that your current insurance does not provide. So if this leads you to not acquiring your visa, of course you would not be able to go and do the internship. So it's a really important factor to consider. Speaking of the visa, the next question is, do I need a visa? This, of course, depends on where you're coming from, but also on where you're going. If, for example, you're a European citizen who wants to do an internship within the European Union, then you would have absolutely no problem and you don't need a visa. But if you would like to go somewhere else, such as some of our locations further abroad, such as Australia, let's say, then you would in fact need a visa. And if you were not a European citizen, then you would need a visa for basically every location that we work with. So this is also something very, very important to consider. The next question is, are there more students present on location? Well, as mentioned, you can always get in touch with them via our Facebook group, but also we try to place you as much as possible near students in such areas or living accommodations together. And if you have any kinds of requirements or would like to meet more and more new people, you can also ask our colleagues on location who are already involved with many of the students doing their internships there, so they can introduce you to them as well. In terms of introducing you to people and having interesting activities together, this is also something that our partners on location can give you a tip on, and each destination offers sufficient possibilities for arranging an activity. So you would be kept quite busy. Keeping busy is actually something very important because it not only means that you're doing something productive, but also because in case you get homesick, which is actually our next question, uh, keeping yourself busy and just having fun with new people and exploring new things constantly is the best possible way to get rid of your homesickness, at least, or to manage it. Because some people make the mistake when going to a new country of staying at home all the time, not really communicating with other people outside of work, and in the process they not only cause more mental strain for themselves, but also lose on the opportunities to meet more people, to establish networks, to have all these fun activities, and to basically explore these countries while they still have the chance to do so. So this is something we definitely recommend. What do I do in case of an emergency? As mentioned, you can always contact our colleagues on location, and they can help you the fastest because they're actually there. And we're also available during normal office hours. So if you have any kinds of questions or concerns, you are always more than welcome to address us to us, and we will try to respond in the best possible way and actually help you. A lot of questions that we actually get are in terms of age. So some people actually wonder if you're younger than 18, if you can intern abroad. In this case, yes, we're very happy to inform you that you can indeed go abroad and do your internship there. But we would need the approval of your parents or legal guardians who take care of you, basically. And they must basically sign a form. But apart from that, you would not have the problem to go somewhere if you're not 18 yet. So this is actually good for people who want to start developing their careers and boosting up their CVs earlier or as early as possible. And we would, in terms of that, in terms of locations where it's best to do so, we would definitely recommend to do one in Malta, because for this destination you do not need a visa, and there are also many possibilities. And seeing how young people want to have as much fun as possible, this really fits with the profile which we described previously. So overall, these are the questions from the FAQ. If you, for example, have any other questions that you would like to ask currently, now would be the time. Otherwise, if you think of something after this webinar itself, then you are always more than welcome to contact us at info@internship provider, as you can see here, or even add us on Skype. and we would be more than happy to help you in any possible way. So if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask. Thank you very much. Are there no questions nobody would like to ask? Or, well, if nobody has any questions, then as mentioned, you're always more than welcome to contact us via our website. And if you think of anything in the meantime, we will be more than happy to help you. But that's it for today. And please join us during our next webinar next month, where we can get into more details and discuss further internship possibilities. And with that, I wish you a very, very nice evening or day, depending on where you're watching from. Thanks. Have a nice day.